Welcome students, class 7th mathematics exercise 3.3. First main, use the bar graph figure 3.3 to answer the following questions. This is the bar graph given in the figure 3.3. Pets owned by students of class 7. This bar graph shows pets owned by students of class 7. This is the horizontal axis and this is the vertical axis. On the horizontal axis, the names of animals are taken on the horizontal axis and the number of students is taken on the vertical axis. This first bar represents the bar of first bar represents dogs, second bar represents cats, third bar represents rabbits, fourth bar represents hamsters and fifth bar represents others. In this given bar graph in figure 3.3, the bar represents cats is the longest bar and the bar represents rabbits is the shortest bar. Therefore, by looking at this given bar graph in figure 3.3, we need to answer first question A, which is the most popular pet? Which is the most popular pet? So, by looking at the given bar graph, the bar representing cat is the highest bar. This is the longest bar. Therefore, the most popular pet is cat. So, answer for the question number A is cat. And answer for the question B, read the question B, what it is. How many students have dog as a pet? How many students have dog as a pet? Look the given bar graph. In the given bar graph, the bar which represents dogs, according to this bar, the number of students with respect to the length of this bar is 8. Therefore, 8 students have dog as a pet. 8 students. Number of students is taken on the vertical axis with respect to the bar which represents dogs. Number of students is 8. Therefore, our question is, how many students have dog as a pet? Answer for this question is 8 students have dog as a pet. This question is solved here. Look the question. This is the given bar graph in figure 3.3. This is the horizontal axis and this is the vertical axis. Names of pets is taken along the horizontal axis and number of students is taken along the vertical axis. So, first question is number A. Bar representing the cats is the longest. Therefore, the most popular pet is cat. Next question number B. 8 students have dog as a pet. Now question number 1 over. Come to the question number 2. Read the bar graph figure 3.4 which shows the number of books sold by a bookstore during 5 consecutive years and answer the following questions. Read the bar graph. Read the bar graph figure 3.4. This is the bar graph in the figure 3.4. In this bar graph, years are taken along the horizontal axis and number of books sold is taken on the vertical axis. Now, in the question, in the given graph, there are totally 5 bars. This is first bar, second bar, third bar, fourth bar and fifth bar. In the year 1989, this is the length of the first bar, and in 1989 the number of books sold. To find the number of books sold in the year 1989 is, draw a line from the top of the first bar perpendicular to the vertical axis. This is the top of the first bar. From this top, draw a line perpendicular to the vertical axis. Now, this line which is drawn perpendicular from the top of the first bar, it intersects the vertical axis at this point. Now, with respect to this point, the number on this vertical line is about 175. Therefore, number of books sold in the year 1989 is, with the help of this graph, it is about 175. Similarly, this is the second graph. In this second graph, this is the top of the second bar. From the top of the second bar, draw a line perpendicular to the vertical axis. This perpendicular line drawn from the top of the second bar intersects the vertical axis at this point. Therefore, with respect to this point of intersection on the vertical axis, the number of books sold is about 475, and the third bar is, this is the bar represents number of books sold in the year 1991. This is the total height of the third bar, and this is the top of the third bar. From the top of the third bar, draw a line perpendicular to the vertical axis. This perpendicular line drawn from the top of the third bar intersect the vertical axis at this point. Now, the value at this point of intersection on this vertical axis is nearly about 275. And similarly, the number of books sold in the year 1992, this is the total height, this is the height of the bar. This bar represents the number of books sold in the year 1992. From the top of this bar, draw a line perpendicular to the vertical axis, or this line is parallel to the horizontal axis. This line intersects the vertical axis at this point. Now, with respect to this point, at this point on the vertical axis, the value is about 225. Therefore, the number of books sold in the year 1992, it is about 225. Now, similarly, this is the last bar. This is the total height or the total length of this bar. Now, this bar represents the number of books sold in the year 1993. Now, from the top of this bar, draw a line perpendicular to the vertical axis. This line, which is drawn perpendicular from the top of the last bar on the vertical axis, it intersects the vertical axis at this point. Therefore, at this point, the value on this vertical axis is about 575. Now, this is the information about this bar graph. So, our questions are: first one, number 1, how many books were sold in 1989, 1990 and 1992. In the year 1989, the number of books sold is about 175, and in the year 1990, this is the 1990. Now, with respect to this length, with respect to the length of this second bar, the number of books sold in the year 1990 is about 475. And similarly, the next is in the year 1992. The number of books sold in the year 1992, this bar represents the number of books sold in the year 1992. Therefore, the number of books sold in the year 1992 is about 225. And third question, in which year were fewer than 250 books sold? Fewer than 250 books sold where in the year, it is less than 250. Less than 250 is 1989 and 1992. In the year 1989, number of books sold is 225. No, in the year 1989, the number of books sold is 175, and in the year 1992, the number of books sold is about 225. Now, in these 2 years, in the year 1989 and in the year 1992, the number of books sold is less than 250. And the next question is, can you explain how you would estimate the number of books sold in 1989? Can you explain how you would estimate the number of books sold in 1989? To explain the number of books sold in the year 1989, draw a line perpendicular to the vertical axis, from the top of the bar in the year 1989. This line intersects the vertical axis at this point on the vertical axis. So, on this vertical axis, the value at this point of intersection is 175. Come to the next question, number 3. Number of children in 6 different classes are given below. Represent the data on a bar graph. This table is having 2 horizontal columns. In the first horizontal row, first row represents the classes and the second row represents the number of children in the classes. In the 5th class, number of students is 135. In the 6th class, number of students is 120. In the 7th class, 95. 8th class, 100. 9th class, 90, and 10th class, 80. Now, use this table and then represent these data on the bar graph. After the construction of bar graph, answer for these questions. First question, how would you choose a scale? Question number B, answer the following questions. First one, which class has the maximum number of children and the minimum? And question number 2, find the ratio of students of class 6th to the students of class 8. With the help of this given tabular column, first construct the bar graph. Now, here the bar graph is constructed. Look at this bar graph. According to the given question, this is the tabular column. Here 5th class, number of students is 135, 6th 120, 7th 95, 8th 100, 9th 90, and 10th 80. Now, to construct the bar graph, first draw 2 vertical axes, one horizontal axis and another one vertical axis. These 2 axes intersect each other at this point. These 2 axes intersect each other at this point. Now, first class is 5th. This is the horizontal axis. On this horizontal axis, take the class 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th, and the distance between, take some distance between the two bars and take the number of students along the vertical axis. On this vertical axis, take the scale as 1 centimeter is equals to 10 students or 10 children. 10 children. Now, here in the 5th class, the number of students is 135. The number of children is 135. 135 obtained at this point on the vertical axis. Now, with respect to the value of 135 on the vertical axis, first leave 1 centimeter, then take 1 centimeter width. From this 1 centimeter line, join these two ends perpendicularly on the horizontal axis. Now, we got the first bar. This bar represents the number of students in the class 5th, it is 135. Similarly, in the 6th class, number of students is 120. On the vertical axis, from the first bar, which represents the 5th class, then after the first bar, leave 1 centimeter space, and then with respect to the number of students 120 on the vertical line, take the exact line after the first bar, leave one space and then draw width of 1 centimeter exactly perpendicular to the value 120. Now, join these two end points on the vertical axis. Now, we got the second bar. This bar represents the number of students in the 6th class. Similarly, 7th class, number of students 95, 8th class 100, 9th class 90, 10th class 80. So, with respect to these values, construct the bars. This is the bar graph. This bar graph is having classes on the horizontal axis and the number of students on the vertical axis. By looking at this graph, we can identify in 5th class the number of students is more than all the classes, because the bar representing the 5th class is the longest bar, and in the 10th class the number of students is very less as compared to the other classes, because the length of bar representing the 10th class is minimum. So, now our questions are: how would you choose a scale? How would you choose a scale? Answer for this question A is, we will choose the scale as 1 centimeter is equals to 1 centimeter is equals to 10 children. Scale 1 centimeter is equals to 10 children. Answer, we will choose the scale 1 centimeter is equals to 10 children. And second question is question number B. Answer the following questions. In the question number B, answer the following questions. Which class has maximum number of children and the minimum? Answer for this question. Now with the help of the bar graph which is constructed now, this is the longest bar and it represents class 5th, and this is the smallest bar in the bar graph. Therefore, this is 5th class and this is 10th class. In the 5th class, the number of students is maximum in 5th class and the number of students is minimum in the 10th class. It is written here. Next question, find the ratio of students of class 6th to the students of class 8. Class 6th to the class 8. In the class 6th, the number of students is 120, and in the class 8th, the number of students is 100. The ratio is 120 is to 100. By simplifying 26 the 25 the ratio of number of students in class 6th to the class 8 is 6 is to 5. That is 120 is to 100. By simplifying, it is 6 is to 5. Number of students in class 6th is 120, and similarly number of students in class 8 is 100. Therefore, ratio of number of students in class 6 to the number of students in class 8 is equals to 120 is to 100. Now cancel 1 0, 0 0 cancel, remaining number 12 is to 10, cut by 2, 2 6 are 12, 2 5 are 10, 6 is to 5. It is 6 is to 5.